guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Damsey Creations. If you're new here, I'm Damsey, the CEO, creative director and owner of Damsey Creations. Today I'm going to show you guys how I made this HOBO crossbody bag. This bag has been in my shop for quite a while, for like 2 to 3 years now, and they have been doing so well. So I'm going to show you guys how I made this bag from start to finish. Before we get started, I'd like to say that this bag has a pattern, and for the pattern you can either get it on my Etsy, GUMROAD or Seller. Seller being for Nigerians, Etsy or GUMROAD being for international. So if you want to get the pattern, you can always click the link in the description box and you'll see the whole breakdowns of everything. It is a HOBO crossbody bag. This is the size. It's really good. I've gotten so many compliments on this bag already. This was the one I made the prototype to test the pattern. This was the one I made first. I did like horizontal and vertical quilting on this. I just decided to just do vertical quilting instead. I'm going to show you guys how I use the pattern. The pattern is an original pattern from my shop. I designed it myself. So don't forget to please like, subscribe and share this video. And let me know what you guys think about the whole tutorial. So guys, the first thing to do is to print out your pattern. Once you've purchased the pattern from any of our websites, you can now easily access the PDF document and print your pattern easily either on your phone or your laptop. This pattern is a 20-page PDF document, but you only need about 17 pages. The rest are just the home page, the preview page, and then your instructions. Once you've successfully printed out all your pattern pieces, this is what they should look like. The next thing now would be to cut out each of the pattern pieces together. Now, when you're cutting out the pattern pieces together, you're going to have to pay very close attention. There is a thin black line on each of the pages of the pattern. So you're going to first cut the thin black line, after which you're going to now cut along the dotted line of each pattern piece. Just pay attention to how I'm doing in the video and just sit back and enjoy.
Good morning.
Once you've cut out all the pattern pieces, you should have a total of 23 pieces. The next step now will be to join the patterns together. So you guys know I'm all about the good stuff. So also included in this pattern is a preview page. Now what the preview page does is it allows you to easily join the pattern pieces together. So now you know where each piece is supposed to stay because of the preview page. Don't worry, the preview page is also going to be included in the pattern. So all you have to do is just click on the preview page and then just use it. The numbers are there. You just click it together and then just tape the pattern pieces together. It's really that simple. Once you've joined all the pattern pieces together, this is how your pattern should look like. You can see how nice and firm they are now. Now you're done with the most intricate part of this whole tutorial, which is basically the pattern. Now once you have that out of your way, the next thing will be to start cutting on your wadding or your foam, your fabric, and then your lining. This is the foam that I'm using. It is tested and trusted. I've been using this for years now, and I can say that this is like the best foam or interfacing that I use for my bags. I get them from a supplier because they're very scarce, honestly, but I get them from a supplier. You could get them from anywhere they sell shoe materials, bag materials. They're very good. There are two sides. There is a much more fabric feel side, and there is the actual foam side. So I would suggest you mark on the fabric feel side because it's easier to mark and easier to sew. That's why you're going to be doing the sewing, and that's why you're going to be doing the cutting of the wadding or foam. Once you've cut your pattern out on your wadding, you're now going to cut it out on your main fabric. I'm using a plain black chinos fabric. It's perfect, texture is perfect. You can use it as well too. I highly suggest and recommend. Now you can see that I'm telling you to put the foamy side on the wrong side of the fabric. So you're putting the foam textured side on the wrong side of the fabric. That is because when you now touch, or when you quilt on the body of the pattern of the bag rather, you're going to have that nice foamy feel instead of the fabric feel, which is the other side of the wadding. The next step now would be to pin the fabric and the foam together. The reason for this is because we need to sew the fabric and the foam together, and this allows it to be easily secure without having to move or anything like that. Once you've pinned all the wadding pieces to the fabric, the next step now would be to cut them out. Now when you're cutting them out, you're going to cut with a little bit of a gap, so you're not cutting exactly the same as the foam piece, rather you're cutting with like a little gap, maybe like a ½ inch gap. This is because it allows you to safely sew without having to worry about the whole fabric getting like chopped off or anything like that. Another thing I'm going to recommend you do is to make sure that your fabric is laid nice and flat on the foam piece. What I'm doing here is I'm trying to repin them back because they had a little bit of like an overlap, or they just are not like nicely laid flat. You're going to make sure that they're nicely laid flat because when you quilt, you don't have that extra nice tuck or anything like that. It's going to make your bag look very, not good. Once you've corrected any overlap that might have occurred when you were pinning, the next step now will be to sew them together. This is the whole essence of pinning them together. As you sew, you just carefully remove the pins and then you continue sewing. You're going to sew all of the pieces together. Seam allowance, just so really close to the edge of the foam. It doesn't really matter. That's all you need to do. Quick one, guys, if you're still here in the video, I would like you to take a moment to please support the channel by subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing. Trust me, it's free. It really makes a difference on how the algorithm pushes the video. It just really helps the channel continue to grow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Good morning.
cutting out the excess fabric that was left after sewing the pieces together, the next step would be to now iron them nice and smooth. The reason for ironing is to make sure that they look nice and clean and very, very smooth, you know, all the good stuff. After that, this is what you should look like, and everything should be looking very, very, very good at this point. After all that is done, the next step would be to add notches to your pieces. Now in the pattern, there are marks for notches. They're just these little like upside down triangles that act as an indicator for when you're lining up your pieces together, so you know where the middle, where the top is at. It's really helpful. At the pattern, you will see the notch sign, so you can just notch on from the pattern, or you could just fold them in half and then find the middle and just notch carefully. Once you're done with the notches, the next step will be to start marking the fabric for your quilting. Now this is the fun part. Now with the quilting, you can do anything you want. You can do horizontal, you could do vertical, you could do both horizontal and vertical, you could do wavy, you could do patterned. Really, you could just use your creative freedom for the quilting. But for this particular bag, I am going to be doing just the vertical quilting, that's vertical lines. Like I showed you earlier in the video, I did one that I did both vertical and horizontal, so you could just do both of them. You could do just one if you will, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to be measuring about an inch from each line, just continuously making the lines on each of the pieces. So you have the main body, the second body, you have the bottom piece, and then the two side pieces. Just continue quilting. It's really fun. Put on some music because it's going to take a while, but it's really, really fun because your bag starts to look very, very, very detailed. Trust me, quilting is very interesting. Your bag has a nice feel to it, it has a nice look to it, and it just makes everything better, really. So after ironing the finished quilted pieces, the next thing I'm going to do is add my tags. Of course, people always ask where my bag is from, so the tags already do justice to that. So yes, I add my tags next. Now it's time to work on the lining. So I'm going to be making an inner zipper pocket. I always like my bags to be functional, so I'm going to be including an inner zipper pocket. The measurements are length 18.5 inches and width 10.5 inches. Although the mini pocket is not included in the pattern, this is just a bonus tip or a bonus addition to people who actually watch my YouTube videos. So you guys are very lucky. So this is the pieces. I have the main fabric and I have the lining fabric. The main fabric is what I'm using for the main bag itself, so that's going to be for the inner zipper pocket. So once you cut it out nicely, it's going to be like a rectangle. You're going to add your zipper, you're going to sandwich the zipper and the lining pieces with the main fabric together, kind of like a sandwich actually. So you have your lining pieces on top, you have the zipper, and you have the main fabric, all right sides facing right sides. Then I'm going to pin them together and then sew at about ½ inch seam allowance. After sewing the first part of the zipper together, this is what it should look like. The next thing you're going to do is the same exact thing you did for the first part, but now for the second part. So you're just going to fold your main fabric to one side of the zipper and then your lining to the other, kind of like in a, will I say, kind of like in a opposite direction situation. So you now have like two folds at the end, and I'm going to pin them together. It's still going to be sandwiched with like the main fabric, the zipper, and then the lining fabric. The zipper is going to be in the middle. So you're not going to do the same thing. You pin round and then you sew, and then you come back, and I'll show you what it should look like when you finish sewing that. So this is how your inner zipper pocket should look like. You can see how we have the main fabric and we have the lining, and then we have the zipper. You're now going to cut off the extra or the excess zipper both at the left and at the right sides. Then you're going to turn it inside out to see how it's going to look. So this is what the zipper should look like, and this is what everything should look like. The next thing you're gonna do is a little top stitch. Top stitch make everything look nice and laid. So that's what it should look like after doing your top stitch. Now I just went ahead to like press the zipper pocket down like a little bit to make it nice and smooth. Then I did a seam on the side. This is called a French seam. It allows you to have a fine inside and then a fine outside, no raw edges whatsoever. So I sewed the outer part of the bag. Then I'm going to turn it inside out and I'm going to sew it again. So you kind of have like a closed inner and then a closed outer at the same time. Don't worry, you're going to see what I'm trying to say. This is what your finished zipper pocket should look like, nice and easy. Notice how there is no raw edge on the inside and no raw edge on the outside. That's exactly what a French seam is about. The next step now would be to sew the mini zipper pocket to the lining piece. Now just grab any of the lining pieces and then mark your notches and then mark like the center, and then just place the zipper pocket right in the middle, and then you just sew on top about 1/2 inch seam allowance. Just sew on top. Now the distance from the top of the lining piece to the top of the zipper pocket is about 2.5 inches. You can actually just customize this to however you feel. You can put this at the side. It doesn't have to be at the middle. I just feel like the middle is the best part for it to be. Once you've sewn it like this, nice, you can give it a little bit of a press to keep the stitches nice and laid. And then the next thing to be is to now work on joining the fabric and the lining pieces together. Now to do this main step, all you have to do is grab your main body of fabric and then place the zipper on top, right sides together. Then take your lining piece and place it on top, sandwiching them together just like we did for the mini zipper pocket. Let me explain again. You take your main body, you place your zipper on top of your main body. You make sure that it is nice and like centered in the middle. Your zipper is spanning throughout the whole width of the main body, and then just place your lining fabric on top. So you have main body, lining fabric, main body, zipper, and then your lining fabric. Zipper will be sandwiched in the two of them, in the middle of both of them. I hope this is like very detailed, explained very well. Once you've sewn across the zipper lining and then your main fabric, it should look like something like this. Now you're going to do the exact same thing with the other parts, that's the other main body and the other lining piece. So all you have to do is the same exact thing. You grab your zipper, you place it right sides together with the main body, and then you place your lining piece right sides together as well, pin it round and then sew. If you don't understand, you can always play back and watch it very well till you grasp it. Once you've done that, this is how both of the pieces should look like, nice and stitched properly. The next thing to do now would be to top stitch. You're going to just carefully top stitch them, nice and easy. Top stitch allows the lining piece to lay flat and it's perfect, trust me. Carefully top stitch, which about ½ an inch away from the zipper line. So this is exactly how your bag should start to look like once you're done top stitching. You can now easily open and close the zipper perfectly because of the stitches are now nice and laid flat. The next step now will be to sew the sides and the bottoms together. You're going to grab your bottom piece and then you're going to grab your sides. You're going to line them up perfectly and you're going to sew with about ½ an inch seam allowance. You're going to do that for the first side and you're going to do that for the second sides. So once you've nicely attached the bottom pieces and then the side pieces, the next thing you're going to do is to nicely top stitch both of the seams. This gives it a much more professional look and feel to your bag. The next step now would be to join the side panel to the body of your bag. All you have to do is notch the side panel as well and then match the notch we made on the body of the bag to the side panel's notches. Then you're just going to pin round the whole entire bag and then you sew. You sew with about ½ an inch seam allowance. Don't worry, this part might be a little bit scary, but just follow the video, you will get it, trust me. Once you sew round like this, repeat the same exact process for the next body of the bag. After that, you're going to notch the rounded edges for a nice and smooth finish. You can now see that our bag is beginning to take shape. Well done, everybody. Now the next step would be to repeat the exact same process you did for the main body, which is the main fabric, for the lining pieces. So you're going to obviously join the bottom piece to the side pieces, and you're going to join the side panel to the main body, to the lining of the bag. But make sure that you leave a gap of about 5 inches so you can easily turn your bag inside out. Whilst you're also doing that too, make sure your zipper is open, because if your zipper is not open, there's absolutely no way you're going to have to turn your bag inside out. So you're going to have to make sure that your zipper is open so you can do the turning in inside out, outside in very easily. The next step after you successfully completed the previous steps is to now work on the strap. The strap also has its pattern on its own, and you can see why I said cut on horizontal fold. So once you fold your padding piece or your wadding, you're now going to cut it out. I'm just lining it out so you can easily cut it out. Mind you, it is on fold. It's very important that you put it on fold because you then have like a long strap for your bag. So we're going to be doing the exact same thing we did for the body of the bag by sewing the padding piece to the fabric. You're going to put the foamy side on the wrong side of your fabric and then sew with about a 1/4 inch seam allowance, just so really close to the edge of your foam. So once you've joined the foam and the fabric together, the next step will be to cut a larger piece of the foam. Now this is because you want to sew the foam, the fabric, and then another fabric again, which is the bigger piece of fabric. This is going to be right sides facing the fabric, that the foam is outside. Once you sew that, you're going to trim off the excess and you're going to turn it inside out. This will allow you to have your strap itself. It is basically fabric covered in foam, covered in fabric. I hope that makes sense. Fabric covered in foam, covered in fabric. Once you have that done, you're going to just press it down nicely and you're going to top stitch with about 1/2 inch from the edge. This gives you that nice sturdy feel and look to your bag. The next thing you would do is to now attach the strap to your bag. Now, in order to attach your strap, this part might be a little bit confusing, but I trust you, you will get it. Just take your time and relax. Now, you're going to turn your bag inside out. Now, you're going to insert the strap from the hole we left in the lining. Once you insert the strap, you're going to insert it now into the gap between the side panel and then the actual body of the bag. Once you insert it, you're now going to sandwich the strap. So it's going to be fabric, strap, and then your lining. Fabric, strap, lining. Once you do that, you're going to sew. You're going to sew very well. Your machine might not be able to sew this. You might use your hand, but you're going to sew this a couple of times so your fabric, your strap rather, is secure. Trust me, you're going to get the hang of this. It might take a couple more stitches than you think, but you will get it. So guys, I can finally tell you that we are one step away from completing your new favorite bag. All that's left to do now is to close the gap we left in the lining, and with that you are done with the HOBO crossbody bag. I am super happy for you that you have completed this bag. Trust me, the bag may look like it takes a while, but once you practice, you're going to get the hang of it. Remember, the pattern for this bag is linked in the description box. You can also join our free mailing list to get patterns, discounts, and many more updates firsthand. So guys, I hope you now know how to make your own HOBO crossbody bag. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comment section. I will try my possible best to answer all of them. Remember, the pattern I use for this bag is linked in the description. Please check it out. Also, if you'd like to join our free mailing list, the link is in the description. I'll see you guys in the next one, and I hope you enjoy your new favorite piece. Till next time, bye guys.